Gino?
Yes,
Gino
sir.
Santa Maria, right?
Santa Maria.
Just like the ships that come over with Columbus. Ain't
Yes.
it in Santa Maria, right? Spelled the same way?
Yep.
Okay.
Only one word.
Yeah, okay, yeah, right. Um, Gino, tell me about your childhood. Where'd you grow up? What was it like? Those kind of things. Where you went to high school?
Well, I refer it this way. I was born in Italy, bred in Germany,
Hmm,
and buttered in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
wow.
And what I mean by that is I was born in Italy, Spigno Saturno. My whole family is Italian.
Hmm.
After the war, jobs and that were in Germany. So my dad went to Germany and he brought the family over. And that's where I spent half my childhood. And I was 10 years old in 1966. We came over to, my dad came in 64 and we followed in 66 to Pittsburgh.
Where
Yeah.
in Germany did you live?
Outside of Cologne, a little town called Langel.
Okay, all right.
And besides learning German language, went to Italian school. I know my Italian dialect, but not correct Italian.
Can you still speak German?
Yeah, noch ein bisschen.
Yeah, I have
Just
no
a
idea what you said, so that could be Russian as far as I know.
little. But yeah, I was 10 years old when the whole family, well, the three oldest kids, I have five siblings. Three
Hmm.
oldest stayed in Europe and Germany and Italy because they got married. And the three youngest, which I'm the youngest of six, we moved to Pittsburgh. And that's where my journey started. I had to learn English because the only words I knew is milk and bread because in German it's Milch and Brot. So I went to Catholic grade school, and I was advanced in mathematics, and that's how they placed me in the proper grade after about 6 months.
Uh-huh.
But I was going to grade school, and then after school, my sister and I, the nuns kept us there, and they were teaching us English. So it was quite a project.
When I was in grade school, there were two kids that came over from Germany. Their last name was Schwartzbauer,
Yeah.
and they were like 5 or 6 years older than me. So I was in like fourth grade. The oldest one was in my fourth grade room for a while, and he would walk around and point to things, and we would say what the word is. Like he'd point blackboard, chalk, and
Yes.
That's how he learned English.
Well, that's partially how my sister and I learned too, because everybody in the class contributed.
Hmm.
When we'd look at things or they'd point at something and they would name what it was, and that's how I started communicating in English. And then after school with the nuns. But
Okay.
I don't have an accent. My rest of the family did, but I don't because I was still young enough. Anyways, I ended up graduating from Corpus Christi Catholic grade school, and I was basically a non-practicing Roman Catholic. That was
Okay.
my family. So I got to learn about Jesus and stories in the Bible and that through a Catholic's eyes. But they really didn't explain anything or went into details in that. But anyways, that's my childhood. As far as grade school, and as far as I'm concerned, the first miracle that happened to me. Um, I lived in a district where, public school district in Pittsburgh, where it was Westinghouse High School, and that was an all black school because of the area that we lived in. And
Hmm.
the only choice I had is to either go there. If I wasn't accepted, I applied, and I was. This is the miracle. I was accepted after 2 years of grade school and learning the language at Central District Catholic High School in Pittsburgh. At the time, it was one of the top five prep college high schools in Pennsylvania and like one of the top 10 in the country.
What was the name of it again, Gino?
Central District Catholic High School in Pittsburgh,
Okay. All right.
Catholic.
All right.
So that was quite an achievement for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I managed to graduate from there.
Good. Good.
uh, but in Germany, I had an experience. where the German police made a lasting impression on me. And in the back of my mind, regardless of what I did growing up in my childhood and my teen years, which I got in a lot of trouble and I played rough, in my teen years. But in the back of my mind, there was always a thing of, I wanted to be a policeman. I wanted to be a policeman so bad. So I always, no matter what I did, what I got involved in, who my friends were, I always had that in the back of my mind that I can't get caught, which is wrong. Or I can't do this. I can't do bad things. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to be a policeman. So that was the start of everything. And after I graduated, I started working at a steel mill because friends of ours got me in. And then from there, I started, quote unquote, my law enforcement career in the military. I joined the Army at age 19, and I got into the military police corps. And I graduated.
You had to get through Fort Gordon, I'm sure.
Nope, Fort Dix and
really?
Fort McClellan, Alabama. That was the MP school.
Oh, okay. All right. When I was in Fort Gordon was the MP school.
Yeah. Well, McAllister in Alabama, that was, and I think 2 years after I graduated, they closed that down. But anyways, I got sent to Germany, and I ended up being a military police in Germany for like 2.5 years in the regular Army. So that was the start of my law enforcement career.
Gino, do you think the assignment in Germany had anything to do with you knowing German language?
At the time, they were sending people to Korea and Germany. My first choice was Korea, South Korea, but I didn't get it. I would say, being that they did ask me if I knew the language and that, and I think that had a lot to do with it.
Okay.
And that worked out to my advantage too, because the company, the MP company I was with, was the jurisdiction was from Frankfurt all the way up north to the northern border, and both the French border and the Czech border.
Wow.
And I got to do a lot of stuff that a lot of the other guys didn't because of the language. And we also had what we called a German police liaison officer, which I was lucky enough to get. And what it was is I worked with German police. I had a regular German police partner. He drove, and I went to their station for duty. And we usually handled anything that came up with as far as U.S. military personnel. They used to send us, and I'd handle it and whatever. Unless it was something really serious like murder or something, then
right.
It was out of our hands. But that gave me one heck of an experience. And my partner I had, he's a big old teddy bear. And he taught me a lot. So
good.
But anyways, come back and worked at steel mill for a little bit. And
how old are you when you get out of the Army?
22.
Okay, good.
22. Yeah, 22.
All right.
So I come back and worked at the steel mill, Heppenstall Steel in Pittsburgh for a year and a half, until I started taking tests for different police departments and stuff. So I managed to get on campus police, was there for a while. Then I got hired by the Capitol Police in Pittsburgh station there. And then circumstances of life, I ended up moving to Houston, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah. Newly married and stuff. And anyways, I ended up being a policeman there, worked for a small city, and I ended up being chief of police there for a couple of years.
Wow.
Switched to constable's department. There, the constables are regular police officers. They have the same training. I ended up being a canine officer. So
you had to pretend to be a dog?
I helped.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Masha, come get him. But yeah, I had a female German Shepherd, and she was fantastic. But things got a little out of, they got all out of whack, and we used to call it Little Mexico. If all the Yankees went home, it would be Little Mexico, the city of Houston. So after about almost 7 years, I decided, well, that's it. It's time to go home. We belong back in Pennsylvania, so we moved back. And when I come back and I apply for different departments, and I end up getting my old job back with the Capitol Police,
Wow.
only this time it was here in Harrisburg at headquarters. So I moved to Harrisburg, and I've been here ever since.
So, Gino, at that point, were you married when you went to Houston?
Yes.
Any children at that time?
Um, my daughter was born in Houston.
Okay, all right. Okay, so you go through the Houston thing, come back with a daughter, and
Yep.
you're now in Harrisburg working. Okay, pick it up from
Yep.
there.
Well, I started working with the Capitol Police here in Harrisburg. Moved my wife and child over here, and that was 1988. And since then, I've retired from the state as a sergeant. I also worked part time for a couple of the local departments, including
Mhm.
Royalton Borough, which is right next to Middletown and the airport. I was there for like 14, 15 years, and I ended up being full time over there after I retired from the Capitol, and I was chief of police there.
Wow.
So I retired there from as a chief of police. Went with Dauphin County. They created a brand new position. I was with Dauphin County for 7 years as I called it the trash cop. I used to do
Yeah.
licensing for the all the trash haulers. You see the big trucks and stuff, and
Oh,
even the
yeah.
little guys with pickup truck.
Yeah.
Here in Pennsylvania, they have the trash is regulated. Each county has their own rules and regulations that they have to report to the state.
Hmm.
And half the counties in Pennsylvania, their trash is regulated to where it has to stay within the county.
Oh,
And Dauphin County is one of the bigger ones because they were losing a whole bunch of money to different areas, and that they created a new position, which I ended up getting. So for 7 years, I did illegal dumping investigations and went after trash companies that weren't doing what they were supposed to.
wow.
I enjoyed it, especially the illegal dumping part. The reaction I'd get is, "How'd you find me? How do you know it was me?" Well, criminals aren't very smart.
I'm sure there are ways, aren't there?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't divulge my secrets, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. But then I retired there too. So
And at that time in your life, you're still Catholic. You're still a Catholic, a practicing Catholic, or a nominal Catholic.
uh, I've always believed in God.
Uh-huh.
Even in grade school, whenever they were talking about the Bible stories and Jesus, he died on the cross, but they really didn't explain it, and the nuns and that really didn't get into the meat of it. They told
Hmm.
you the story, and that was it.
Hmm.
But one thing I've always believed in is the Ten Commandments, and I tried to be a good person, an honest, upfront, and respectful person, and then that's the way I wanted to be treated.
Hmm.
So when I got into law enforcement, that helped me because that's the way I treated people, regardless whether I arrested them or not. So what? Somebody screwed up. That doesn't mean they have to be treated like a dog or anything. So respect was there, and I got respect and respect back.
So that
So
golden rule works everywhere.
yeah. Um, in that sense, in that respect, I think I was a very good person, and I tried to keep the Ten Commandments, foremost forward. Um, and I can tell in some of the things that have happened to me, even like in high school, getting accepted to Central Catholic, that
Hmm.
was a long shot. And thinking in hindsight now, that was a God thing.
Yeah.
I I thoroughly believe. I don't know what part of Scripture or where it is, but you were predestined from birth, and if you were if you were going to be one of God's children, that He would have an angel watch over you. Well, I
Hmm.
feel that way. I feel that that was the case before I accepted salvation. I accepted God, Jesus, into my heart and as my Lord and Savior, and that happened in June on my birthday, June
Okay.
16th in 2011.
Oh, wow. Hey, well, let me just, that's good. Let me back up in there just a moment. You had a desire to do something that I haven't heard very often. That's a desire to obey the Ten Commandments as an unsaved guy. So that was a very conscious thing on your part. I'm going to obey the Ten Commandments.
Yes, because like I said, I mean the nuns and the priests and all that, where I was going into school and that, they told you the stories and they really didn't have time to really explain
Hmm.
explain scripture or explain what the parables meant or anything. And what they kept drilling into you is, here's the 10 commandments, memorize them and try to obey them.
I
So
see.
that's what I did. I mean, and to me, it made sense,
Hmm.
to be a good person. I believe in God. God's, gave these to Moses to give to us. And it's life. It's a guidepost for life. And that's what I tried to do.
It's just, I mean, it's admirable. It's just, I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me that before. Okay, so I interrupted you there, but now you're in 2011, and you tell me the circumstances around receiving Christ.
Well, my first wife, after moving here in 2005, she committed suicide.
Oh my.
And I went through that, and with a young daughter. And like I said, God got, the only thing I can say is that God and the angels, they got me through it.
Hmm.
And
How
then
old
from
was your
there,
daughter?
she was 9,
Wow. Oh my, that hurts.
86. Yeah, she was 9 years old.
Ooh, okay.
Luckily, she wasn't home. She was in school when it happened. So
Hmm.
it kind of worked for and against, because she didn't get to say goodbye to her mother. But
Yeah.
anyways, uh, from there, I mean, I tried to pick up the pieces, and I was trying to be strong for my daughter, because we were family wasn't here. I didn't have any family here. Her family was in Pittsburgh. Um, but
Close
anyways,
friends? Close friends at that time?
yeah, at the Capitol, I was working a night shift, and we were like a knit little family. So I did rely on a couple of the officers that try to help out as much as they could.
Okay.
But again, I cried out to God.
Hmm.
Um, there's even when I first moved over here, trying to, in the first 6 months with the state is probation. And even the episode with my probation, that at night shift, there seemed to be a clique with the supervisors. And if you weren't in that clique, you didn't make it.
Ooh,
And I definitely wasn't in that clique, because I they felt that I was too experienced for them, being a chief and all this. And I
right.
said, I just want to be a patrolman. I don't want to be anything else. Just leave me alone.
You're not here to take their job.
Yeah, I'm not here to take your job. I just tell me what you want me to do in writing, and I'll do it the best of my ability.
Hmm.
But anyways, it got so bad to where I come home the one morning, and then I got on my knees. I was crying. I was bawling like a little baby, because I knew I wasn't going to make probation. And I said, Lord, if you want me to work here, that you brought me here, and this is before I was saved.
Hmm.
Um, I said, God, I give it to you. It's in your hands. That night I went to work. It's like the world lifted off my shoulders. And even the other officers could tell us, well, what'd you do today? What happened to you? And because I had a great big smile on my face, and I carefree. And I gave it to God. I said, no, it's up to you. You want me to make it? I'm here. I'll do what you tell me. I made probation. Got my regular status. And again, fast forward a whole bunch of years, I even retired from the Capitol Police as a sergeant.
Hmm.
So,
Well,
but in the
again,
meantime,
that's an unusual thing, Gino. I mean, it's clearly it was a call in your life for years and years. This idea of committing something to God, you're not even a saved man. It's amazing.
um, I just felt, even growing up as a kid, that somebody upstairs, as we would say, was looking out for me.
Hmm.
That's why I always try to be a good person. I try to respect and get respect. I just had this feeling and this calling that I was to do something, and that that God had His angel to watch over me, so that's why I wouldn't screw it up.
As it
And
turns
that's the
out,
way
you
I
were
felt
right.
all along.
Yeah, yeah,
But
you were right.
anyways, and I can point to a whole bunch of different instances where it was a God thing, like getting into Central, like making my probation in Germany. Got in a situation in the mid '70s when I was there. That's when a terrorist group, the Baader-Meinhof gang, was big in Germany and in Europe. They were shooting up everything and trying to attack U.S. facilities. I even got in a firefight with them. I was with my German partner, and they had a break-in, and guy with a gun. I was 2 feet away from him. He could have knocked me out and shot me to death. Period. And again, that situation right there. If it wasn't for God, I don't think I'd be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had this feeling. It's like, we call it a gut feeling in police work, but now I know it's the Holy Spirit prompting you.
Mm-hmm.
That, hey, I called my partner Hartmore, because there was a tarp laying there with dirt and stuff around, and we looked everywhere, and I'm standing next to that tarp, and I motioned my partner over, and I said, I'm pointing to the tarp, and he goes, okay, we both have our guns drawn, so I stepped back and pulled that tarp back, and here the guy's sitting there with a gun.
Wow.
So, like I said, he could have taken me out anytime he wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but we ended up getting the bad guy. But it's stuff like that. And throughout my whole 30 plus years of law enforcement, I can point to a whole bunch of different situations like that an angel was with me. Period. That's all I could say.
Well, Gino, where were you when you received Christ? Was it in a church service at home?
Well, my first wife committed suicide in 2005, and 2006, almost a year later, I was looking for companionship. And my wife now, Beth, she was looking for companionship because she come out of a abusive relationship. And we both, very first thing out of our mouth is, I don't want to get married. I just want a friend. Both of us. Well, you don't say never to God, because
You're
2
right.
months later we were married.
2 months later.
2 months later we
Oh
were
my
married.
goodness. That's a
And
long
we were married,
courtship.
what, 28 years now? 28. We've been married 28 years now.
Yeah. I know this thing wouldn't last.
But anyways, we got married in 2006.
No, we got married in 1996.
I'm sorry, 1996. That's right.
And she committed
Yeah,
suicide.
she committed suicide in 1995.
Okay.
We met and got married in 1996.
All right.
Thank you. But anyways, we're trying to, blend the family together, her
Right.
family, my family. And that was tough. I mean, we were in love, so it worked out in that respect. But then everyday life kept creeping in. The kids creeped in. So we went through ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, things got so bad between the both of us, we just about split up.
Oh my.
And so we finally come back together, and we sat down, and we had friends of ours that were going to church. They kept inviting us to church and stuff, but we didn't, until we finally got together and sat down and had an honest to God conversation about our marriage, how we felt. And it's like today's society. Oh, if it's not good, we throw it away, go grab another one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Beth and I, we threw away one single word, and that was divorce. We threw it out the window. We threw it out of the vocabulary. I said, no matter what happens, that word doesn't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to work out our problems, and we're going to work at it. And we want to be together. We want this marriage to work, and that's our final solution.
Mm-hmm.
Just about the same time, a friend of ours here invited us to a church. We're close by here. And we went, and we never left. We were there for like almost 14 years.
You want to give that friend any credit on the video or not?
No, I just.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, she had invited us, and we went and looked, and we liked it, and we stayed. We stayed for just about 14 years.
Wow.
And during that time, the pastor there, the lead pastor, I mean, he was preaching, and he preached the word in that. But looking at it now, he didn't sugarcoat anything, but he didn't go in deeply like our church is now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But still, it was a season for both of us, and God wanted us there, and we ended up there. And And that's where I really start learning about Jesus, and he died on the cross for me, for my sins. And I finally learned about what the parables meant in the Bible, what the Bible story is, and the Gospels, and start reading the Bible and start going to um, small groups and that, and really getting involved. And then we had good friends of ours, from church, um, and one of them was Dave, and he's a um, teacher, retired teacher, and he went to Bible college and that. So he was our group leader.
Okay.
And we threw a lot of questions at him, had him explain to him, the scriptures and stuff, and that's how we really learned, both of us. Well, me mainly, but because, like I said, I knew the stories, but that's it, and
Hmm.
other than the Ten Commandments.
Right.
But and then finally, after we were going there for a couple of years, or almost a couple of years, I decided that it was time for me to give myself to the Lord 100% completely, to be baptized, to be born again. And
Wow.
I tracked down one of the pastors there, and I said, my birthday was coming up. I said, I'm going to do it on my birthday. And we have um, what the heck was it? It was like a little pool thing where they baptize people right there on the stage
Hmm.
at the old church. So I tracked the one pastor down and said, yeah, come on by tomorrow, and that we can do it. So that's what I
Did
did.
you fit in that? Did you fit in that pool?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
I did. And I went all the way down.
Good. Okay.
And that was June 16th, 2011.
Wow.
And I've given my life over to the Lord ever since. And I've come to the conclusion that you trust in your Lord and give everything to the Lord. And it's worked out well for me. And as far as my wife and I, the triangle, God on top and husband and wife at the two corners.
Hmm.
The closer you get to God, the better your marriage is. And that's the way it's been with us.
Yep.
And God, and we've kept that. We put the Lord first. I put the Lord first, no matter what I'm doing. And as far as I'm concerned, He's blessed me to no end. I know I don't deserve it, but
Hmm.
I'm a child of God, and I accept it, and I want to do whatever I can for the Lord.
Well, Gino, that's an awesome testimony. I mean, what struck me was how the Lord was tracking you all your life, intersecting with you at different points, protecting you, taking care of you. It's so typical of our God. It's awesome.
Well,
So,
I've always had the impression that that Michael, the archangel, was always on my watching over me.
hmm.
He's a God's first policeman, so here I'm a policeman. So it's just fitting. But yes,
Wow.
me understanding the Bible now, understanding the parables, and reading scripture, in hindsight, I can look back on my life and I can pinpoint the different circumstances, different things that I was involved in. And the only explanation is it was a God moment. It was a God thing. That's it. That's the only way to explain it.
Yep.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking right now.
Yeah. I'm sure. Wow. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
um, like I said, in hindsight, I can pinpoint to some of the areas where it's a God thing. And now, my life now with my wife, I feel that we are two of the richest people on this earth. And
Hmm.
I'm not talking about monetary wise. I'm
Yep.
talking about blessings from the Lord,
Hmm.
because He's given us abundantly, our home, everything that we have. And it seems like sometimes I tell her that, oh, this month's going to be tight paying the bills. And I go to do the bills, and there's a whole bunch of money in that account. I said, where'd that come from? There's only one person,
Yep.
and
Amazing.
only one way that it came there. So
Yep.
to wrap this up, and as far as I'm concerned, is the Lord works in mysterious ways. He definitely has a sense of humor that I can attest to. Both of us can, and trust the Lord. That's the bottom line. Put your trust in the Lord and really trust Him with everything.
Yep.
If you're on the fence, that's not a good place. Either 100% or none. That's the way I feel.